All right, so let's just jump straight into it. You may have heard, or may not have heard, but Dark and Darker actually added a crafting slash mining mechanic into the game with this third playtest, and you might be confused how it all works. So we're just going to go over some questions that I definitely had about it and have figured out so far. So we're going to be going over three things: what ore exists and where it's actually located on the two maps, at least in the overworld for now, how to mine it, and then we're going to be going over how to actually craft with the ore that you mine and what kind of gear level you should be expecting from crafting it. Alrighty, so for the first point at this time, ruby silver is the ore that actually exists in the game. It's located in a few places. We're going to be putting a image of the maps up on screen. The description is going to have the link to the person who actually created these maps. I actually appreciate them a lot. There's no like a large mini map or like overall map you can look at in the game. So the fact that he created these was actually very useful. All the credit goes to him for actually making these maps. But on these images, you can see that the small red circles are actually where these ores are going to be located. So if you are intending on going into your maps to find these ores, you want to head towards those areas probably as soon as possible because mining does take a while to actually complete. And you are quite vulnerable while you're doing it because it is loud and you can't look around as much as you would probably hope to. All right, so now we know that only one type of ore exists, and now we know where it's located. Let's go actually how to mine it. So obviously, if you're familiar with the video games in general, you know that you would need a pickaxe, but how do we get those? Well, in luck, you can go to the weaponsmith, buy the pickaxe there. The woodsman also sells it. Pretty sure that it's the same price, yeah, 25 gold. So it just costs you 25 gold. And the good thing about the pickaxe is, even though it is quite large, it doesn't take up a weapon slot. You can actually place it into your consumable slots and then just swap to it as needed whenever you actually find the ore vein. Now, once you actually mine some, I have some here. I have some ruby silver ore just left over from a previous raid. What do you actually do with it? Well, you can go to the trade master once you're level 5, and then go talk over here and try to sell it to other players. I've seen prices range from around 75G to 100G. Oh, there's someone right there who is trying to sell it. Don't know the exact values because I'm keeping it for myself, but you can play around with that if you would rather just sell it. If you would like to craft with it, like I do, you can go to two people, the armorer or the leathersmith. For example, the leathersmith, you hit the service tab and you have some pieces of gear that you can use to craft. So before we get into that, we'll go to the alchemist. This is actually how you craft the powder. So you can turn the ore into two different items at this time. You can turn it into ruby silver powder with the alchemist, or you can go to the armorer and turn it into ruby silver ingots. Now they do have different crafting costs. The powder has a crafting cost of 6, and the ingots have a crafting cost of 10. So it will be more expensive to make plate armor from the ruby silver, and we can go over, so 6 ingots, so if you do the math, that's 60 ore just for the gauntlets. That's going to be 70 ore for the boots, 80, 130, and then 150 respectively. Now, that's a lot of ore, but it can be worth it because the 3 unidentified lines on some, and then the 4 unidentified lines on the pants, those are going to be random stats that can roll on your gear. They could be garbage and it could be god tier. So it's RNG whether or not you get something good. So we'll go over to the leathersmith and it's the same thing. 20 powder. So the powder was 6. So 6 times 1 or 6 times 20, that's going to be 120 ingots for the legs. This is going to be 60 or not ingots, excuse me, 120 ore for the legs, 60 ore for the gloves, 66 ore for the boots, and then 72 ore for the cap. Typically, each ore vein has between 3 to 5 ore, so it will be a long-term acquisition unless you're going into the raid and rushing over to the nodes and staying there and then extracting the moment you can. If you're only hitting one node, you can expect to get between 3 to 5 ore, and before it breaks, it is not infinite, so you'll have to keep that in mind. Along with making sure that you don't get caught up in the zone when trying to mine. But yeah, that's pretty much it for mining the ore, where to find it, how to buy the pickaxe, and then what to do with it. You may find it more valuable to just sell the ore. and then use that gold to buy better items besides these from other players on the market, especially if you are starting off and don't really have a lot of gear. It may be better just to sell it for gold to be able to buy potions and things like that in order to get your bank started. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope if this helped anyone, please leave a like on the video, and see you guys in the clips to come. Cheers.